My name is Dr. Francheska Perepletchikova. The topic of today's discussion is the law of three yeses. Well, let's start with saying that our sense of safety demands control. And therefore, we are saying words such as yes and no that frequently because these are indeed words of control. And unfortunately, when we do that, we mainly get another person angry or defensive, and therefore stuck in a pattern of arguments. Now, in order for us to get unstuck and actually get to figure out how to do things in a way that is going to increase probability of us getting what we want, instead of continuously arguing and damaging the relationships with ourselves and other people, we need to use our favorite thing called manipulation. And one of the main tools of manipulation is the law of three yeses. Well, of course, nothing too extreme. We do need to say no sometimes. When we use punishment, that's a no. When a child is running into traffic and obviously need to scream, no, stop. We also use no therapeutically. It is called irreverence of the type of direct confrontation so that we can get a person unstuck. So rebalancing can occur on a more functional level. The problem with that is for any of those techniques based on no to work, we need to ground it in a foundation of saying yes. Otherwise, another no is not going to make any difference. For that no to work, it needs to have a shock value. And the way to make it, to give it this shock value, is to make sure that the person mostly hears yes, yes, yes. There are three types of yeses. Yes is a yes when you agree. Now, this is confirmation, reinforcement, approval, right? As well as complimenting, as well as apologizing, right? Oh, wow, that's a wonderful idea. Yes, right? I really love it. The way that you did it, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. Or, you know what? You're so right. I'm very sorry for what I did. Now, using that, yes, of course, promotes increase of probability of that behavior happening in the future because you're reinforcing that response, right, with your attention and approval. Also, it strengthens the relationship and puts the foundation for you to one day actually use no effectively. So the first yes is yes as a yes when you agree. The second yes is yes, I understand, but I don't agree. This one is called validation. In validation, as we spoke before in my prior video, we communicate, I understand why you did it. I get it. I get the causes of your behavior, even though I don't agree. So validation is not approval. Validation is acceptance. And we only need it when we don't like something that's happening. If we like what is happening, then we need to reinforce, not validate. Validation has so many functions. It is strengthening the relationship. It is making the other person feel understood and supported. It decreases the other person needing to be defensive, right? It decreases anger. It is indeed promotes teaching of effective communication, teaching the correct labeling of the emotions, and it puts the foundation for change. So far, we had yes is a yes. I agree. Yes, I understand and do not agree validation. And the third one is yes as a no. Now, this technique is called irreverence of unorthodox type, humorous unorthodox irreverence, and another technique under the same category is called extending. Now, both of them are used on using irony, meaning that you're communicating something that is obviously not your intent to communicate. So you're saying no without saying it. In extending, we take what the person is saying about the situation much more literally and much more seriously than the person is actually intending, right? And the classic extending comes from Marsha Linehan, the developer of the Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, and the extending that she would be using with her clients. The clients will come in and say, I'm going to kill myself. And she would say, are you firing me? Right? So obviously extending, obviously not meaning it. Other examples that come from my work with my beautiful, wonderful clients, my teens, their parents. I'm going to read some of them for you. So I do not have to do homework. I'm flunking out of school. I see. Should I help you to find a job? I cannot live in this household anymore. I cannot stand you constantly nagging me to clean my room, to study and do dishes. Well, it looks like your living situation is really intolerable. I think that you should indeed start looking for an apartment immediately. I cannot go to school today. I have a headache. Oh, no, that sounds terrible. Should I call an ambulance? All right. So interpersonal communication is like a tango, right? If one person leans in, the other one needs to lean out. And if you lean out, the other person will have to lean in. So extending is actually using this principle because you are in extending doing what? You are leaning in by taking the situation too seriously. So the other person needs to all of a sudden lean out. Plus, you're going against the script, right? You are deviating expectation of what the person is going to imagine you're going to reply to this, right? And all of that is going to give you this moment of confusion. Plus, you leaned in. They need to lean out. Wait a second. And then they either have to just drop the issue, right? Or, walk away from the room or say, and roll their eyes, right? Anyway, all of this is good. Now, unorthodox humorous irreverence, this is another type of yeses and no. Now, in this one, we usually use it when the attack is personal. It's attacking my personal integrity. When ignoring is not going to work because your attention is not the main source of reinforcement. When you can indeed be more or less self-confident to be able to pull it off, because in this particular type of yeses and no, you need to make fun of yourself, light-hearted fun of yourself, kind of like not taking yourself too literally, right? And not too seriously. And in this one, it's not, of course, self-deprecation. It's not self-criticism in any extent. You're just making fun of you. You're not touching the other person at all, which is very different from sarcasm, which is also a type of irony. But in sarcasm, we are actually using irony to attack another person. So this is with intent to hurt, with intent to criticize, with intent to mock. We're not doing any of that. So here are some of the brilliant things that my teens and their parents came up with during therapy. So I wrote them all down. Okay. You're so inflexible. Yep. I've never been good at gymnastics. Do you understand that when I look at you, it makes me sick to my stomach? Of course, why do you think I have a Pepto-Bismol next to my mirror? You're a joke. Yeah, my memoir is going to be called A Life of a Walking Punchline. I like that one a lot. You're so stuck up and rigid. Well, I can't bend down because then my crown will fall off. You are a control freak. We hear that a lot from kids. You are a control freak. Well, definitely, but I actually prefer a term strategically influential. All you want to do is to control me. Well, I do need to practice my wizardry, otherwise I will never graduate from Hogwarts. I think I pronounced it correctly. You're uncorrigible. Yes, thank you. I've been working so hard and so long to develop that reputation. You're so fat. How else am I supposed to stay a center of gravity? You're just a coward. Well, for real, I actually have to wear diapers to watch horror movies. You are so disorganized. Well, yeah, but I usually say that I'm spontaneously flexible. You're so annoying. Well, totally. If annoying was an Olympic sport, I'll be a gold medalist. Mm-hmm. And my favorite, you are crazy. Well, yeah, but please don't tell it to my psychiatrist. All right. So, what happens when we use unorthodox, humorous type of irreverence? Number one, we violated expectations by deviating from scripts, meaning what we disarmed the attacker in this moment, right? Also, we communicate that our self-concept is actually opposite to what we are stating. Otherwise, we would be defensive. We only are defensive on things that we ourselves think of ourselves. Otherwise, we will not be defensive. By not fighting back, we're identifying the other person as an aggressor, 100%, and we decrease chances of the attack happening in the future because obviously it doesn't work. One of my brilliant, and they're all brilliant, one of my brilliant teen clients compared this type of yeses and no to an elevator without buttons. If there are no buttons to press, elevator ain't gonna move. Now, of course, this strategy is actually very helpful to stop verbal bullying, right? I had one of my, again, teen clients, and this is like very strange that it continues to happen in this day and age, but she was not developing as fast as her peers, and she was actually made fun of and mocked at school for this. She would come to school and she was mocked by girls and boys. Hey, where are your breasts? What happened to your breasts? Can you imagine? And she would be crying and running into the bathroom, did not want to go to school. It was a whole shenanigans. And we practiced yeses and no. And one day she arrived at school, and to a usual mockery of where are your breasts? What happened to your breasts? She said, oh my God, I forgot them home. I'm going to call my mother right now and she's going to bring them right up. She said it once, twice, done. Of course, we may not be able to come up with those witty comments on the spot. However, if there is a pattern of insults, you know what my brilliant clients told me? Use chat. What is it called? Chat GPT. Okay, chat GPT. Use chat GPT and it can come up with all kind of like hundreds of comebacks for you to select from. Using the law of three yeses also is amazing and fantastic for your practicing and inquiring and acquiring and maintaining self-control. Why? Because for us to be in control, we need a freedom of choice. We need a freedom of choice to decide in our conscious brain, our frontal lobe, what to do. And for that, we need to introduce a pause between stimulus and response. Otherwise, we're stuck in a, I feel it, I do it. Now, if you train yourself by talking like that to your spouses, to your mother-in-law, to your father-in-law, to your friends, and of course to your children, and believe me, it will be quite funny. If you train yourself to say yes as a first response to everything, whatever comes your way, yes. You know what happens? Immediately you introduced a pause. Because after you say yes, you need to think, which one? Which one of those three? You introduced a pause. You gain a freedom of choice. You increase probability of actually doing something that is helpful. And you increase probability of getting what you want while improving relationship with other people and yourself. Now, this is what we call manipulation. If you like what you hear, if you want to learn more, please continue to tune in. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope to see all of you in the next year. Bye.